unify in UNITY? What if you and I unify in UNITY? What if you and I unify? Hey, what's going on, people? You're watching the Unity sessions on TLDTV. We're joined today by special guest CYB. How you doing over there, sir?
Doing awesome.
Yeah, nice to hear, man. What you been up to? How's life been the last few months? I know it's been a bit of a mad one for most of us around the world. How you been coping personally?
Been hanging in there, man. Trying to cope with all the changes and everything. Still trying to stay focused on, important things, and still trying to be faithful. Yeah, just hanging in there, trying to pivot, because you don't want to let circumstances get you off track with what you're trying to do. So you kind of just want to pivot to whatever's going on. You want to kind of adjust and keep going.
Yeah, is there anything you're looking forward to for when things go back to a more full normality?
Well, I definitely looking forward to getting back into the church, like in the actual building and fellowshipping. That's one of the big things that I miss. And it makes you appreciate, being around people more as well. A lot of times, before the pandemic, we was kind of, you kind of wanted your own time, your own space, and, you avoid the crowd and the traffic and all that. But now it's like you appreciate being around people more. And when everything come back onto, I guess, the new normal, people will appreciate, family members, visit family members more, visit friends more, and that time be more, sacred, now after the, everything's going on.
I definitely found that, man. Like when I see someone that I haven't seen for like a while, it's like you almost kind of run towards each other, like, oh, and then you're like, oh, wait, I can't even do that. Let me just hold my peace, hold my peace. So tell us about the name. I know some viewers are going to be curious. CYB, what we stand for?
Count your blessings. Count your blessings.
Yeah, what made you land on that name?
So originally, my older brother gave me that name back in the day when I first started rapping, and he gave me the name, well, actually, Cool Young Brother. So I just did the CYB, went with CYB, and then later, when I converted from secular rap to Christian rap, I just changed it to Count Your Blessings. And also, as I got older, I wasn't the young brother anymore, so I just went with, Count Your Blessings.
It's pretty dope, man. And you're a multifaceted, multi-talented guy. You're an artist, you're a producer, you're an engineer, along with some other stuff as well. Which one of those came first? Which one was kind of the core that things grew out of?
Well, the short version, I started off, I've been a hip hop fan since a little kid. Since it first came out, I was like, wow, this is like awesome.
Yeah. And what state are you in?
I'm in Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, Virginia, United States, Virginia. So yeah, I started out with liking hip hop. So naturally, I wanted to rap. So I became a rapper, but I wasn't just a rapper per se. I liked the whole process, making the beats, recording it, putting it together. I was making tapes, cassette tapes back then. And, then I graduated to, this is before YouTube. This is before, Google.
Yeah, when you tapes, so let me know straight away now. We're dealing with a whole other ballgame.
Yeah. So I had no training, and I was able to create songs, with with my ear. And I take an instrumental, a rapper's instrumental, when they had, sometimes you buy the single and had the instrumental. And I knew how to pause it with the cassette tape to loop it, pause it, and count it like 10 or 3 or something like that. You pause it and you get that perfect loop. And I recorded, my vocals over top of the instrumental into a box, into the speakers.
Wow.
And so after I created, and then I made tapes. So, and then eventually, and like I said, no training. And eventually I got a Yamaha digital 4-track recorder that stepped my game up a little bit. And so anyway, long story short, I end up, so I started with music. And then, for my career, I wanted to get into like IT. So technology part.
But
It was
even that, from what you
interesting.
just said, that sounds mad unique already, man. I don't know if maybe because you lived it, that just sounds like a Tuesday to you. But there ain't too many rappers I've heard come with that story. It's almost like you were both at the same time from the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of my friends used to come to my house and like, because they knew I had a studio, which, you know, I guess to back then it was considered a studio, but where they can record. So, you know, like I said, I used to rap, but I liked it all. I liked to turn the knobs on the EQs, and I always wanted to make it sound the best as possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to make collaborations, and then eventually, you know, once I wanted to get back into the church, I just said, hey, I can't rap like this anymore. I need to, you know, I try to clean it up, and it was a process. I didn't like, I'm gonna be a Christian rapper. It was, you know, I took the steps. You know, first step was, you know, stop cussing in my raps. Then I went on to, you know, then I was a conscious rapper, you know, and then, I mean, I'm at a point now, fast forward, I even consider myself a gospel rapper, man, because I try to include scriptures in my raps now. You know, I try to minister through music now. But back, yeah, so I got into IT. And so I do websites now. And I do,
Nice.
so, you know, I build websites. You know, I know a little bit about digital marketing. And so I've always been well-rounded, not just, you know, a Christian rapper per se. So that's kind of what made me build a platform, Gospelbeats. And it's not, you know, about me. I want to grow the whole Christian rap community because, you know, I had to stop listening to secular rap. You know, once I, you know, converted over to say, hey, I'm all in, I couldn't listen to rap anymore. I thought I was, you know, I was like, man, much as I love hip hop, I have to give up rap. And that's when I found out, oh, it's Christian rap. But, you know, back then, Christian rap wasn't like it is now. It was, you know, you had to sacrifice production quality.
Yeah.
It was very, very, I guess, churchy. And, you know, as a young guy, you want, I like the hip hop, the 808s, the beats, the sound of hip hop. And when I first got my taste of Lecrae's first album, it was a rap. I was like, wow,
Rebel.
this is, you know, what I've been needing. And it's been up here ever since. I've just been finding out other artists. And that's when I was like, wow, you know, this stuff sounds just like any other hip hop. If you don't listen to the lyrics, you can't tell the difference if it's Christian hip hop or not. You know, if you don't hear the lyrics. So that's when I said, oh man, so I just kind of wanted to build a platform, you know, for other artists, because now I can listen to hip hop and still, you know, I don't have to have the negativity, you know, the negativity go along with, you know, secular rap. So I'm trying to give you a short version, very quick.
Hey, what was the Lecrae album? Because I always
Oh, well,
assume
actually, it was, I started with Rebel, the Rebel
okay,
album.
yeah. It's funny, I
And
don't count for some reason in my head, it's like maybe because it felt like the first time it got it perfect. I always start counting on Rebel, but yeah, when the music stops, and yeah, shame on me for not remembering some of the others. But yeah.
oh, well, yeah, I found out about it when he was on the Rebel album. Then I went back and I researched all his other albums. I ended up buying all of them. And I
Yeah.
was, you know, following him. I'm like, wow. Then I found out about Triple E. I found out about, you know, Panamino, Reach Records. Then I ventured out into other record labels, other artists like Sean Burgundy, Bizzle, and I was just like on the road. And I was like, wow, you know, and that's all I listen to now. So my top 5 secular rappers, man, they Christian rappers, you know, as far as like my favorite rappers, man. So
What's the last thing you remember listening to in the secular world?
I was a big Tupac fan, so I think it probably was. I guess it was like Tupac was probably him, and Nas was like my favorite, like my top 5, and I like a lot of Nas songs because he did, you know, he did talk about God in a couple of his songs. So
the Godson album was interesting to me from that
yeah,
perspective as well. It sounded like he was teasing it, and I know there's a kind of like a Muslim background as well, but the ideology didn't seem to be leaning there from what I was hearing from him. It's strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, they was my it was a couple other I can't think on the top of my head, but yeah, I just like I said, I had to I had to give up secular rap. I don't even know what's the hot thing on the radio now. I haven't listened to the radio in like probably almost 10 years. Like, or what's the hot song? I think the last people I knew was like Lil Wayne and Drake. And I don't know if they still on top now. I don't know.
You're doing all right. They're gonna be all right. Yeah. Another interesting thing in what you said, you seem to differentiate between the terms Christian rapper and gospel rapper. Do those mean different things for you?
Yeah, I think it's a slight difference in my personal opinion. Because a Christian rapper, in my opinion, could not necessarily have to rap about God. They just may be a Christian who's a rapper. They may rap about, their life experiences. But as far as a Christian rapper, they don't, they still don't cuss or talk about things that go against God, but they just may not talk about God. They may just talk about, hey, whatever that, like I said, their life experiences, things they've been through. And some Christian rappers do, talk about God. But in my opinion, a gospel rapper is you're going to hear God. You're going to hear about God. They're going to talk more. It's going to be more towards like maybe saying scriptures in their raps, or having more messages in it. So that's my kind of my personal definition of both. So it's pretty much the same, except like I said, gospel rapper, you may get a little bit more, more scriptures or more messages in the lyrics.
Yeah, I hear you. And in terms of Gospelbeats, that's another thing that deserves an award. In the Christian music sphere, like I think there's, at least to some extent, there's a heart for it. But I think to have the heart and also have the management, the wherewithal, and three, then to have it stand the test of time. Because now your next goal is a decade, right? Because done about 6 years deep.
Yeah. So and Gospelbeats is definitely it's a baby stage. It's an idea, it's a seed, and we have big plans. Like we're gonna do some we're gonna make some big changes, and we're gonna we got our heads together and finally say, hey, we're gonna make some changes. We're gonna do some things. We're gonna do some bigger things, and I don't want to let the cat out the bag right now, but it's some things coming down the pipeline for Gospelbeats. So it's still going to be the same type of, I'm all about the Christian hip hop and movement. I'm all about it.
Tell people about the platform, what it does.
Oh, okay. So right now it's just basically is to glorify God on, glorify God through music, really. And I just want to give artists that exposure to get themselves out there. So my goal is to make Gospelbeats big, so when artists put their information on there, or artists is featured on there, they will be seen by as many people as possible. So yeah, and of course I have my own music on there, but I want to create a platform mainly just to glorify God through music. People who want to glorify God, people who want to, whatever your, and it doesn't have to be through music, whatever your talent is. I want to, display that, help people, be that engine to help people, put their, talents out there for God, mainly.
Yeah. So man, and how have you found the experience 6 years in? What have been kind of the highs? What have been the lows?
So it has been challenging. It's because one thing you have to do, I'm learning now, is you have to treat it like a business. And a lot of times I try to go on basically, we all Christians, we all should this, and assuming and everybody's not on the same level, you know, Christian-wise. So you got the, you know, younger Christians, you got the older Christians, you got, I mean, as far as like spiritually, and everybody's on different levels, you know, so you can't assume, oh, because we all Christians, we all have the same goal, it should be an easy collaboration, you know, things should run smoothly. But I have to run it like a business. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to do now, is be more strategic, run it like a business. And so that's kind of been a struggle, is kind of making like a business so I can be more professional and, you know, that sort of thing.
Do you find sometimes there's a bit of a tug of war there? And I know I've found in the past it's kind of like, just by virtue of the Christian brotherly way of doing things, sometimes it can be difficult to find the line between, you know, where the expectations are from a professionalism sense and a business sense, while managing things with brothers and sisters from a Christian sense. Has that been a thing, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I had like situations with other Christians where, because we didn't have a contract, we kind of bump heads. And, you know, I just assume, oh, you know, we both Christians, you know, you know what I'm saying? Money shouldn't be an issue, you know, but still, you still need to be business minded and have those contracts, have those things in place. Hey, sign off on this just to, you know, just to be safe and, you know, and keep it professional. And that's the thing I struggle with, because I don't want to burn bridges or have like conflict with other Christians, but I guess that's what the contracts and the professionalism helps prevent that. You have everything, the expectations laid out up front on paper, then there's no disagreement or no, in the long term, no you know, bumping heads in the long term, or, you know, misunderstandings.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely been something that I've learned along the way myself. To some extent, I think it's just a quote unquote kingdom culture type thing, you know, where often I think my worry is, for those people who aren't necessarily fully sustained in what they're doing by the Lord, it can cause a lot of people to either burn out or be dejected, especially when, you know, you're supplying a service and it might be somewhat beneficial to you, but really in the scheme of things, you know, your heart is for the other person. And when it still comes around to burn you, I know that can be a burdensome experience. So yeah, I'd always encourage it, man, and to not feel any guilt in that sense. Professional guilt just by wanting to do things in the right way. It's 2021, man. Like
Yeah.
it's like everything is written, recorded. Future generations will have a nice, compact, like a document of everything that's been happening on social and everywhere else. So to have a contract, I think nowadays something written down is like the least, man. What do you think made it such a core part of your values to create this kind of entity, to bring people together?
Well, I always look at it as far as what I would want or what I'm looking for. So I know, as me was trying to get my music out there, you know, to maybe help somebody or bless somebody. And I know it's a struggle, because like you said, whatever it's, you know, doing it for God or not, it's still, it's still kind of like a business where you can put it out there, but if you don't manage it right, nobody's going to hear it. You know, if you don't, you know, do the social media, if you don't, you know, advertise it, you know, market it, you know, it's just going to sit in cyberspace. So, you know, you have to put, you know, you have to do, you know, the worldly work, do what, you know, the steps it takes, like any other business. So, so that's why, you know, Gospelbeats is more or less helping those people who may be struggling with, you know, advertising, or they may not get heard. They may have good content, but it just may not be heard because they don't have money for Facebook ads, so they don't have money to, or they just may not have the, you know, the knowledge of marketing and music or advertising and music. So what makes Gospelbeats a little bit different from other platforms is, you know, I'm after, you know, the underdog. You know, you don't have to be, you know, as big as, you know, Lecrae or, you know, I only want big artists. No, I want artists that's good. You know, they may not be popular, but they have good music that people need to hear. So that's one of the things that, you know, for me, I think my music is good. Like I think it can help people. So I would want somebody to, you know, give me that opportunity.
Yeah,
So
I feel you. And I think a lot of what you've done is definitely reflected Christian values in business, which is something I always love to see. You say your mom played a big part in kind of you initially being exposed to God and exposed to Christ.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm not I'm not a preacher's kid per se, but I feel like it because my mom was so heavily into the church to the point where it's like we went to, you know, Sunday school, Bible school, if that's still a thing. Um, the church was open, we was there, and it wasn't, oh, you know, I don't feel good, mom, I don't want to go. We was in church. My mom like didn't vacuum on Sundays. So that's how much she was like. She didn't do work on Sundays. It was the Sabbath day. My mom was deep heavily in the church, and you know my dad wasn't in the home at the time, so it was like she. I mean, that's all I knew growing up was God. I had a relationship with God at like a very very young age because of my mom.
Mm.
So you know when my mom passed, even though I had like a 10-year gap where I didn't go to church, I still had that foundation. So even though on the outside you couldn't tell, you know, you didn't know I looked just like anybody else, you know, getting in trouble, and you know, but I still had that foundation where I didn't do anything too crazy because I always had that belief in God. And when I got out on my own, I was like, yeah, I got to get back in the church.
And
And
I do wonder, like, in that, as a grown man now, and you lost your mom at a young age, are you able to see at all what was driving her? Kind of one for her own walk and her own salvation, and two with you guys. Are you able to look into it and see what you think was the catalyst for the way that she was managing you guys?
I'm not sure, but because she died, I was so young when she died, and I only remember like probably less than 5 incidences where I remember situations with her, and like I don't even remember a conversation we had. But
Mm.
I don't know. I just know she was just all I remember. She was heavily in the church. You know, yeah, you know, I wish I would have known her more, or I known more, you know, but it's just bits and pieces. And then a lot, you know, I've been through a lot where I also try to, you know, at one point I was trying to forget about it, you know, that happened because, you know, it started affecting me as I got older, you know, not having a mom, realizing I was missing a lot that, you know, your dad can't give you, you know, your mom, that nourishment that comes from a mother, you know, it didn't start hitting me till later in life. Like, wow, I'm actually missing something that I never really got, you know, growing up. So,
Yeah, how did you deal with it at 10? I think it always seems in these kind of situations to go both ways. If you do understand it, a lot of the time it feels like it can affect you more. Whereas some kids I know that go through tragedy, it's almost like the ignorance of not really knowing what was happening and what it meant kind of helped, at least at that stage, to guide them through. Where was your head?
you just said it. Yeah, at the time, it didn't really register what was going on. So I kind of cried when I heard it happen, but it didn't kick in until later in life. I think the first time it really kicked in is when I went back to church, and I probably was in like my early 20s, and it was Mother's Day, and the pastor was talking about mothers, and he was just going in, mothers, 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 mothers. Next, you know, I was in tears, and I was like, I just broke down, and that's when I knew, you know, I'm still not over it. I have some issues, and it is crazy because even, you know, after that, I stopped going to church on Mother's Day because 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 of that situation. So like I said, it kind of hit me later in life when it came to realization, like, man, I'm missing a lot of emotion. I can have my emotions easy because it's like I feel like I didn't get a lot of emotional support coming up, because your dad's normally tough. He made sure the bills paid. He give you a talk every now and then, but it's not like mother's type of care and emotional support.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because like I'm coming off the back of that life like about a year and a half ago now. That was me. So I was kind of scrambling around for just anything, like advice from people who had like been through stuff similar. I think one of the realest things that someone told me, shout out to Snape Rings, was like, um, the pain doesn't ever go away, like it doesn't ever hurt any less, but you gradually learn to deal with the pain in better ways. Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and the thing is too, to add on to that, is my wife, her mom, kind of took a liking to me, and she was kind of replacement. So I had attachment to her. She ended up passing,
Oh man.
at an early age. So it was like, wow, and I looked, and it was frustrating, and I looked to God like, what's going on? It's like, why I can't get that motherly side? It's like I yearn for it, and so like I said, it made me who I am today. I have like a I can hide my feelings and emotions very easily because I'm used to keeping them in. But like you said, it's something you have to kind of, you got to heal. You got to let God heal. You got to, you know, read up on it. Maybe get some counseling. Talk to somebody who may have been through the same thing you've been through. But yeah, it's a healing process. You just got to learn to deal with it. Because it doesn't change the fact that I don't have that. I still don't have that mother, that motherly love. But you just gotta learn how to live with it and deal with it and lean on God when you, as much as you can, basically.
Yeah. Has there been anything like practical in terms of any practical steps that you found helpful?
Well, actually, the more you grow in God, the more if you find a pastor or a church that feeds you spiritually, basically being around people who can grow you spiritually, the more I grow spiritually, the better off I am. It's like, so steps, you can always read. It's a lot of good, books, spiritual books that can help you. Like I said, counseling can help you. I know a lot of people are afraid of counseling, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, especially if you got some insurance that'll pay for it. Go to counseling, just talk, because most of the time you're just talking to somebody, and you feel better when you share it. My wife is a big help because she can relate, because she lost her mom just like me. So she said she actually was able to deal with her losing her mom because I lost my mom. So we had that connection, as far as that. And so yeah, speaking to people, like I said, just growing spiritually with God, because only God can help you deal with that. Like nothing else can help you deal with that wound. Like you may think it's helping you, but it's temporary, and it may end up being worse. So yeah, God's the only thing that can heal that wound.
Yeah. I guess one of the fundamental things, like I know it shifted in me, was I don't know if it's necessarily the right words, but my understanding of salvation. I think it changed because I think the way that I viewed people, it became so much more of a emergency situation. Whereas, evangelizing, sharing the gospel, spreading it. So is that my mom passed and she was Christian. My dad passed like a few months before and he's Rastafarian. And then I guess it felt so different, just because we have certain assurances, don't we? You can never be 100% sure and say, oh yeah, he going to heaven, she going to heaven. But we have certain assurances. And I feel like I had it with one parent and not necessarily the other. So I think from a kind of evangelism perspective, it's made me maybe a bit more even aggressive with it and sharing the gospel, just knowing that any day, it's like, you know, somebody who you were thinking about that isn't saved could just be like out, you know, and then after that, there's nothing else that he, she, you, him, her, them, they can do after that, you know. Do you feel like it's changed your approach to those things in any way?
Yeah, I'm all about. I know exactly what you're saying. You know, I had situations like that, and my older brother passed as well, and he actually passed on my birthday.
Man,
So it's hard to forget the day he passed. But yeah, so I know exactly what you're saying, and all you know, what I try to do now is I try to, you know, like now I have a list. Like then I got this from my pastor. He was like, write down a list of all your family members that may not be saved that you want to be saved. So I wrote it. I wrote all their names down and I pray over them. You know, I pray for them. And so even though I may not actually evangelize to them in the natural, I pray for them because really only God can really change somebody's heart. So I pray for them. And then sometimes God will give you that opportunity where he would put you in a situation where it's an appropriate time to really evangelize. I try not to force it and call them and say, hey man, you need to be saved. You just never know. I kind of try to let it happen organically and naturally. I keep praying for them in the spirit, you know, and God will open up that door for me the opportunity for me to evangelize, you know, even though now it's kind of hard because of the pandemic, but you know, God will open up that door for you to evangelize. So I make sure I pray, and then you know I lean on God's support to help me, you know, evangelize to who may need it, you know.
And on that note, like, you know, I think we all have to some extent like a kind of concept of legacy. But before you're done with music or before you leave, what is it you like to achieve?
Yeah, so that's a good one because that's very important. A lot of people, you want to leave a legacy. You want to, you know, you want to keep living on while you're gone. Like, and that's important. I think that's important. So one of the things that I do is I make music, and I'm working on my sixth album, and you know I have 5 albums, you know, and I'm very, you know, adamant about publishing them, you know, on iTunes. I'm like, iTunes probably be around after I'm gone, you know.
Yeah,
So long as if I try to keep it on my website, you know, my website may go down, you know. Nobody probably gonna want to hold it up, you know,
yeah.
after, you know, I
Go
don't know
share
if I can
that
put
password, man.
but I put it on iTunes. I know that company probably be around for a long time. So yeah, I won't. If you know, if I have a kid or grandkid, whatever, I want them to be able to know what I was about, what I stood for, so they can hear my music and get to know me. You know, and it's like, oh man, so if grandpa or great grandpa, you know, was all about the gospel, you know, maybe I can be all about the gospel. So you know, I want to have a book. You know, I want to have books. I want to have because I can't, you know, you can't really depend on people because you know this world's getting crazier. You know, you can't depend on they'll find a church and their pastor set them straight. You can't rely on that. So you want to, excuse me, you want to leave a legacy for like written, you know, verbal. You know, I want to do sermons. I want to publish, you know, podcasts wherever I can get out, you know, God's word from my point of view for other people when I'm gone can hear and you may use to help them whatever situation they may be going through.
Yeah, man. It's always good to hear. And I think from a Christian perspective, it's like it's a must. Um, and it's such a blessing. I say the age that we're born into. You know, I don't believe in coincidence as a general rule anyway. But for the Christians who are around right now, there's so many opportunities to go beyond what even your lifespan can do. Disciples and such who are scrambling to write things down on pieces of paper that, you know, for the most part, aren't even here anymore. But we have so many opportunities to share, spread, store the gospel. It's crazy. Yeah. So in terms of going forward, like how could people pray for you? People watching this, what would you like people to pray for into your life?
Health. That's always a good thing. Health, and especially during this time. You know, a lot of people may be, you know, struggling because, you know, being isolated. And, you know, the enemy a lot of times attack you when you isolated. He wants you to be away from other people because he can attack your mind more. So, yeah, definitely health, you know, mental stress, like mental health is a big thing, I think, now. During these times, it's like, so yeah, try to stay, you know, you try to keep our mind on God, stay focused on Him to get through, you know, whatever struggles we may be going through. So,
Yeah, amen, bro. So, yo, you've been watching the Unity sessions on TLDTV with the man CYB. Check out his links below. Check out Gospelbeats. Get to know his music. You're in for a treat. 6th album on the way. What more could you ask for? We out.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving me the time, man, to speak.
Bless, bro. That's so good. Glad to be here in fellowship with you.